tell you, boy. As soon as I click that live button, his internet goes bonkers.
Mm.
Let's see. Are you sending out the live Elder Yashwamba?
Yeah, I'm sending it out.
The one. The one.
Oh man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Were you able to put it on to run and save?
Nah, I didn't. I have to ask the brother how to do it because I believe it's a way I can live stream too from mine, but I just reload it. I'll figure it out.
Kind of. All right. Then. Well then, okay, man. With that being said, I want to say call halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakah Hakodash. I send double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I send much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there pushing the word of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth. And as you can see, man, this is Great Millstone Dallas, Great Millstone London. I got Elder Yashawamba, I got Elder Required Poem here with me. And we're doing the second part of the path to the Motb. You know, the path to the Motb, the digital renaissance that Esau is running to right now with full speed ahead, man. Okay, they're trying to get everything laid down. So basically, they're making this push for the West to catch up with the East. And in this new digital hegemon, they want that the America, the whore that rides upon the beast, wants to be at the forefront of it. So there's a lot of propaganda being pushed out. There's a lot of news. Like before we got on, Elder Yashwama was like, "Man, he's moving. He's not playing no games, man." And we can see that.
Right.
His mindset is to capture his enterprise and get this thing going. But did y'all brothers have any opening statements or anything like that?
Hey, the devil is getting ready to show his horns, man. Hey, when the scriptures say he's coming down with great wrath, this is just a small portion of that, and he's going to return to his original state. The spirit of Satan. So brothers, prepare, brothers and you sisters who are watching, man. Through this all, as we watch Babylon fall, we're gonna lose certain comforts, but it's all right. It was written, and this is why Esdras told us to be as pilgrims in these times, because we're in a spiritual war. And this investment that we've put in is going to pay off, man, in a big way. The Lord is not going to forsake us, man. Just continue to believe and fight and repent daily, man.
Time, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna read this scripture. Can y'all see that right there?
Yep.
All right, man. This is that Revelation 12:12, but I got it in the NLT. It says, "Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who live in the heavens rejoice. But terror will come on the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great anger, knowing he has little time." And we're seeing that, man. And one of the things that really, really had this scripture jump off the page for me was my man, the evil villain here, Klaus Schwab here, as he addressed the economic forum. There's multiple pieces in here that you can take and do hour-long videos on. But there's about probably like a minute clip here where he's talking about how the World Economic Forum, the WEF, has come together. It's all these leaders, but the sentiment behind them is starting to wane. Okay? So I'm going to play this, and then I'll let you brothers talk about it if you have points.
Ancient age. Us, when we meet today, we also have to face an erosion of trust in our society. We all must work together to regain trust in order to progress nationally and internationally. This can only be achieved if we genuinely address the existential fears of so many. The fears of marginalized, the fears of those who are afraid of accelerating environmental degradation, and the fears of those who worry about being left out in the transition to the intelligent age.
You see, now he's talking about how much there's so much distrust for them and what they want to do within their agenda. And notice how now they want to call it the intelligent age. You see, when they came and they was calling it the NWO, the New World Order, people picked up on it and they didn't like it. Then they called it the fourth industrial revolution, and that became a moniker of the elite and people that you shouldn't trust. Now they want to try to make it and call it the intelligent age, the age of intelligence. Meaning, if you ain't with this age, you're not intelligent, you know. And so now, you know, they want to call the old, you know, analog age. That's the new dark ages, and now we're coming into a new renaissance, the intelligent age. So they try to switch it up, they try to sweeten it, they try to make it sound nice and sound sweet, so that they, like he said, you know, there's accelerating global, you know, problems, and so we need to accelerate. So they're gonna come quickly, and they're gonna come with anger if you resist to everything they got going on. You was about to say something real quick, Quan?
Yeah, I got a precept real quick. Psalms 36:3. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He have left off to be wise and to do good. Verse 4, he deviseth mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil.
Yeah. And that's what they're doing. They're devising iniquity on their beds. This is what they do at these conventions and forums and behind closed doors. You know, they come and stand on the podium and speak to the public, but they really get down and dirty when there ain't no cameras on. When the media doesn't have access to those rooms, they seek deep, like we talk about, man. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody Yashwamba.
Well, as the scriptures say, they're wearied in the multitude of their counsels. You know, they're throwing up enchantments. The public, you know, doesn't trust them anymore, which speaks to that scripture in Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. And that word sufficiency means when they're about to clap their hand to finish their enterprise, you know. And it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And the working class is rebelling. You know, they've lost the public trust, and Trump was supposed to restore that. But it's clear as day that even he's on, you know, some BS. So things are getting ready to get crazy. But again, they know that no one trusts him anymore. You know, the Lord has allowed, you know, with this, because there's a inquisition going out on this devil. So a lot has come out, you know, over these, you know, especially since this word came on the internet. So now that they're at this point where they're trying to go ahead and solidify it, you know, it's not as easy as they thought, you know. So they got a lot of, you know, BLOOD to drink, a lot of sacrifice. They got a lot to do, and they're doing it. All right, and we are in those times, man. The pale horse, you know.
Facts. And they're going to come with all types of ways to get this thing accelerated. One of the big things they're doing right now is using competition, or so-called competition, between the West and the East, chiefly America and China. And this is why we read all these scriptures: "Woe unto you, Babylon and Asia." These guys are two different sides of the same coin of iniquity. You know, heading faster and faster into the Motb systems. And we're watching it happen. Okay, now I'm gonna play one more clip, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Required Quam. We want to hit a particular point.
She is so good. Stand up, Susie.
Hold on, just 1 second. let me play this clip. I had the minute mark. I believe it's minute 54. I don't know how it got switched. Right here. All right, so let me play this.
The biggest, most powerful site, maybe anywhere in the world, that we got it done, and we're going to get it done again very quickly. Now, I think I do it with an executive order because they didn't go through Congress. I got it approved through Congress, so I think we get it done fast. But it's going to be that can supply all of Asia with its location. All of Asia can be supplied by Anwar. So there's so many things, but we don't want to have any future president ever sabotage our economy with out of control regulations as the last two Democrat presidents have done. They went crazy. Last week, I signed an order revoking Joe Biden's destructive artificial intelligence regulations so that AI companies can once again focus on being the best, not just being the most woke. And today and over the last couple of days, I've been reading about China, and some of the companies in China, one in particular, coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method. And that's good because you don't have to spend as much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset. So I really think if it's fact and if it's true, and nobody really knows if it is, but I view that as a positive because you'll be doing that too. So you won't be spending as much and you'll get the same result, hopefully.
So here he says, so you'll be doing that too. When you understand it, basically China rolled out DeepSeek and it's just become a wildfire. But he says we're going to be doing the same thing too. Now we made this point last time. If America is supposed to be the enemy of China and China's supposed to be communist and socialist and all this and that, why is there so many comparisons in the USA doing what China does? It's because they're both heading to the Motb system,
right?
All digital algorithmic system where artificial intelligence is your angels controlling everything, and Esau is God Almighty. Okay, and they're gonna keep pushing this as fear. Oh man, we can't have China be ahead of us. Oh, we're doomed. We need to do this faster. Okay, this is how they get this stuff rolled out quicker. Problem, reaction, solution. Now check what he says.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. They said you have the most brilliant scientists in the world in Seattle and various places. But Silicon Valley, they said, there's nobody like those people. This is very unusual when you hear a DeepSeek, when you hear somebody come up with something. We always have the ideas. We're always first. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with hopefully the same solution. Under the Trump administration, we're going to unleash our tech companies and we're going to dominate the future like never before. And finally, we need to.
Absolutely, you got it.
If you're gonna do that, right? If you're gonna make something and go from the 6 billion that you spent to do it to 6 million with the same people, that either means that most of the people involved in that process are gonna not exist. They're gonna be fired, meaning they're not gonna have no more income, or you're drastically reducing the income of those in America who are involved in these projects.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, right?
Now, when they talk about the 6 billion, I want to be clear on this. They're talking about how much energy and computational power it took for ChatGPT to get where it is.
Oh, there was 16 billion in energy.
So it takes a ridiculous amount of energy over time for it to get where it's at. But DeepSeek only utilize a fraction of that type of resource and energy to get where it's at. Now, what Trump is saying is a good thing because it shows us how quickly we can get to AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is what's going to be needed to govern your world. What they're trying to do is get to artificial general intelligence, to where you have the AI making pretty much office level, mid-tier management decisions, day-to-day decisions that are accurate, that are on point, to where people that's you're not going to ever deal with someone at an insurance company ever again. If you have a car wreck, AI is just going to completely deal with that. There's going to be a swaths of jobs you just won't need.
Yep.
With artificial general intelligence. This is what you'll need in order to have the Motb. You need a level of artificial general intelligence, and then their monthly prognosticators, their star gazers, will be able to utilize artificial super intelligence. This is what they'll use to predict the future and all that shit. A level the general public won't ever have access to.
It's interesting. Is that not creating this global warm thing? All
Right.
of the energy is taken. Here it is out of one mouth. They're saying the earth is heating up, but then out of the other side of their mouth, they're telling you it takes a lot of energy to ultimately build this infrastructure. Just shows you he's the devil, man. Yep,
that you hit it. They speak out of one side of their mouth and then they speak out of the other. So when we're looking at systems of universal basic income, which is basically leading to the Motb, and having your this quote unquote utopian society set up, you need to roll out these AI programs now and push it hard. And they're justifying it now to the general public. Okay. So I want to read this scripture, and then when you're ready to share your screen and go into what you want to go into, Required Quorum, I'm going to switch over to your screen, bro. Okay. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. It says, woe to them that, and y'all let me know if what I'm saying is making sense in the chat. Okay. Micah 2:1 says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. All right. So they're putting these plans together. You damn right. There he's looking at China. It's like, ooh, because when you look at China, it's a complete surveillance state on the highest of levels. They show that one clip. The brother Motb Zagwa played it on one of his last videos of basically them being able to record a coffee shop. You could see which server was serving more drinks, which server was chilling in the back, all that type of stuff, man. They're monitoring everything. Okay, so they're devising iniquity. They're putting these plans together to get the world. And right now, Trump has the whole world gassed up. So he's moving without Congress. He's moving like a pure emperor. Okay, it says they covet fields. Do they not cover? Are they not talking about taking Canada and Greenland and all that? They covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Okay, and so they putting everything that they can together to get this stuff done. I'm finna switch over to your screen, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna send this article into the. I sent it into the private chat.
Okay.
But my internet kind of tripping. But basically, they're boasting that. Yeah, it's there now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, they're gonna reduce the workforces. Okay, there you go.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, let me switch the screen.
Pretty much like you said earlier in your video, Elder Required Quam, pretty much they're going back to that scientific racism and all low-hanging fruit. All right, because that's why it says small and great, rich and poor. Ain't gonna be no middle class. And as that article was saying right here, 41%
Right.
of companies worldwide are preparing for AI to reduce workforces. So what does that leave the majority of the people? Well, it's going to go back to survival of the fittest and the low-hanging fruit. You know, those who ain't, you know, don't you know, meet the qualifications of being a superhuman or, you know, you go fall by the wayside. You're going to be subjected to either death or a 15-minute city. They're not going to have any need for you. The majority of these jobs, teachers, even preachers, okay, doctors, all of these jobs are going to be taken over by AI. Insurance agents. Again, you ain't no Keisha gonna lose she ain't gonna be at the front desk no more. Okay, certain jobs brothers got. Okay, again, we talk about how we're gonna lose comforts. This is the world they're setting up, and you see who's at the forefront of their attack. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They're telling you, you through, nigga, get a job, shut up.
That's right.
Talking about doing away with the IRS, you know, but we'll get all into it. I just wanted to show that because I was reading it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, ultimately that's what we're gonna get into, because the MOTB system is completely different to the system of control that they've had set up for the last 500 years. You know, with you know, the markets, and you earn money and you spend money. You know, the capitalism, consumerism. You know, central banking with debt out of control and inflation and all these things, which is basically driving this kingdom to destruction. The MOTB is completely different. It's a system of complete control. So it doesn't need inflation, or it doesn't need debt.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so that's why
it's just resource allocation.
Purely and simply a planned economy, which you know. But I wanted to get the scripture real quick, because you know, 1 Corinthians 10:26, it says, "For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof." And you know, at the end of the day, everything in the earth belongs to the Most High, and He's the one that allocated it, you know, according to inheritance to the various nations, beginning with the nation of Israel. But Edom, he wants to be the Most High, so he wants to own everything. He wants to, through his MOTB system, he owns the air, the water, you know, the earth, you. Do you know what I mean? What you do, what you don't do, what you say, everything. He wants to, everything that can be quantified, he wants to have it under complete control and subjection, as if he's the Most High. All right, so let me get the first clip. So you got this guy Elon, who for years he's been pushing this idea of it's going to become necessary to have what they term a universal basic income, which, like the elder said, they're probably going to change the name to whatever they call it. But what it basically represents, he's going to explain. Let's play this. I got a couple clips. He constantly was pushing this out there everywhere he went.
Fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job. Machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. Now, the output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. There will be almost everything will get very cheap.
Okay, so the first thing you see him talking about there is this idea of what they call a post-scarcity society.
Woo, boy.
Huh?
Esau doing this shit, boy.
So that leads. This is why everything that you see happening is the Lord's using Esau to bring scarcity, to bring inflation, which is all a form of scarcity. There's not enough. You know, that's a common thing. There's not enough. There's too many people. There's scarcity. There's this, there's that. It's chaos. There's overproduction of one thing, not enough production of another thing.
Yep.
This is too expensive. This is too wasteful. This is so that this devil here can turn around and say, well, we got a new system where you're not going to have scarcity.
Right.
And we can make it where everybody can have access to everything.
Right. And when you look up the limits to growth ideology, it goes back to the Club of Rome. That's what the World Economic Forum is talking about. You know, pretty much there's not enough resources on the planet Earth to support the mass amount of people. It's too many people. So, and when you look at what happened from 2020 till now, the elites have hoarded all of the resources to themselves. So just like in Egypt, when Joseph had all of the resources, what did Pharaoh say? You know, go to him and do whatever the hell he tells you to do because he had everything. Well, the elites have put themselves in that position. You know, they're buying up all of the fields. They're buying up all of the land. All right. And once they crash the system, you know, the majority of the people, you know, are going to, you know, be on their knees looking for some form of comfort, looking for a way to live a little, you know, speck of the life that they had before, because all of your investments, all of your Social Security, all of that is going to be gone. So that's going to leave people to be slaves, all right, to the elite.
Yeah.
And they're going to set up things like economic, you know, universal economic, you know, basic income, things like this, that, and you're going to have to meet certain qualifications to get these things. This is leading you down to the path to the Motb, you know.
Facts.
Thus the title of the video, you know.
No, that's straight facts because, you know, it's just in summary, what we just heard Elon say is when they reach artificial general intelligence, it's going to take away so many jobs that people are going to be massively unemployed.
Right.
And so their access to create income, to buy, sell, do whatever they need is going to be diminished. And people are going to complain. They're going to complain and they're going to cry for a solution. Well, that solution is that, oh, these machines are making it so much cheaper, faster, easier to produce that we can, what they're producing can provide a universal basic income that we can give to the slaves. Okay, what you got for me, champ?
Yeah, I got Luke 21 and 25. It says, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. You know, which we always go into that word perplexity, which means to be wanting, you know. And so, you know, this is what's really coming down the pipeline. There's going to be more inflation, higher cost of living, more and more empty shelves, more unemployment, and even the people who are employed, it's almost like it don't, like over here in the UK, right? It's crazy right now. It's like the middle class, it don't matter how much money you're earning right now, you're just getting hammered. Your disposable income is getting just destroyed. Just absolutely destroyed. They're putting everything up. The taxes gone up, the council taxes gone up, food's gone up, gas and electricity is still high as hell. The water just went up. Do you know what I'm saying? The rent is crazy. The mortgages have gone through the roof because of the interest rates. You got people that were paying mortgages of like, maybe they were paying £1,300 are paying 3,500. You know, you got people who were paying rent because you had a lot of these what they call it, landlords, that they bought these houses and mortgaged them to rent them. Now, if their mortgage is doubled, before the person was pretty much living kind of below the costs because the landlord could afford to just charge them below. Now I was talking to one woman, she said her rent doubled, so she got to move. And then the other guy that was there, he was a landlord, and he was like, yeah, it's not the landlord's fault. All of our costs have gone up.
Yep. The property taxes see, what happens is to the landlords is that the bank just ridiculously increases the property tax. So, you know, the landlord typically has a loan that they have from the bank, but they charge you the rent so they can pay the mortgage. Yep. Then it'll take some time. Then eventually they'll be in profit to where it's just a cash, you know. But up until that point, what's happening is that the property taxes are going up so drastically high on these places that the landlord is having to send that expense down to the renters. It's worse in the UK, in Australia, in some of these other Western places. But it's still 30-40% here in the US. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And if your income is not going up at that same rate, not only you're getting smacked by just basic inflation, this is a hyperinflationary situation.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful, man. But it's all by design. This system is designed to bring this distress and this perplexity. There's no real solution to what's happening except a complete reset.
Yep.
There's too much debt.
The only way you can circumvent it is by families staying together. See, back in the ancient world, you leave the house at 17 and just figure it out. No, everybody stayed together. Yep. That's how you get away from it. But they've successfully broken that in the mindset of the people. So everybody out here living for the city.
And don't even talk about, like, even with a lot of people now, they're living in their house with their parents, and say like in London, it's like £500,000 to buy a house, man. So it's like basically no one ain't gonna be able to buy no house. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to have 3 girlfriends that all work 50 grand jobs to get a house. It's bad. Like, I'm telling you, everyone knows this thing's over. It's literally at that point to collapse. It's bleak. Like, you talk to people, anyone that's under the age of 35, they don't know how they're gonna get a house. Stuck paying rent, or if they're on a mortgage, they're about to go belly up. Yeah, man. But this is what, you know, they're doing. You know, it's all by design. All the money they print, you know, it's for this purpose so that they can come with the solution. But in the midst of that, a lot of people are going to suffer. A lot of people are going to die.
Yep.
And that's also by design, by the Most High's design too.
Yep. I got a precept.
Yeah, Khan.
In Revelation, the 6th chapter and the 5th verse. It says,
I'll pull it up. Oh, you posted it.
Yep. And the brother asked a question about Luke as well. We'll get to it in a minute. But when you read Revelation, the 6th chapter, you know, this is ultimately the system that Yahweh Shai is coming to deliver us from, you know. But it says here in Revelation 6 and 5, and when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, come and see, and behold, lo, a black horse and a pair of balances in his hand. And that word for balances, when you look at it, and black represents, you know, dark times, hard times, slavery, you know, a dark system. And when you look up that word for balances, could you click that?
Sorry.
That word for balances. And that's this system, all right? Unjust balances and weights. Zygos, when you look it up, a yoke that is put on draught cattle, and they're setting up a system to where human beings are going to be cattle. That's even one of the definitions of the charagma, is a brand or a mark that's put on a horse. It says metaphorically used of any burden or bondage, troublesome laws imposed on one. All right.
Mhm.
And this is ultimately the system that we're living in. Now, when you go back, the very next verse says this. It says, hold up. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And the oil and the wine represents the truth, because through these dark times, the scriptures tell us that the elect are going to eat. So ultimately, the elect are going to make it through these times, but we're going to live through these burdens sometimes. And when you go to that word measure, let's see here, a measure of wheat for a penny. Now we know the word penny goes to denarion. It means, I believe, 10.
Mm-hmm.
A measure of wheat for a penny. The word measure is koinix, right? It says, I just get to the point. It says, as much as would support a man of a moderate appetite for a day. So your food is going to be rationed to you. Everything in the system to come will be rationed to you.
Yep.
See?
Yep.
You got it required for him.
Yeah, that's what they call the recommended daily amount.
Mm-hmm.
Your basal, what they call it, your basal metabolic rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which all these Fitbits and that calculate for you. So it's all there. That's correct, man. Now going back to what Elon said. So the way he's making this sound is because people are unemployed. But the reason I mentioned about the fact that people are working and struggling is that it's not just for people who are unemployed. It's for everyone. Everyone is going to be under a system where it doesn't matter what you do, what job you have within the system, you're going to get that basic income, that welfare. Now, if you're working in one of these big, for Tesla or something, they'll throw a house in there for you because you will live on the plantation, you will live on the factory, or you will live on the power plant. And that they're actually doing that. They're building towns specifically for businesses. So Tesla's building one in what's it called, in Texas, where if you work for Tesla, they give you a house and all that. Let's get the next clip.
Yep. Oh, did y'all want to answer this question?
Yeah.
GMS Down Under. He was asking about Luke 19 and 43, and he put it there. He put the AMP in there. Let's see if I can show it.
Luke 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now this was speaking of 70 AD.
Yeah, and so when they talk about this time of siege, just talking about when you barricade people into a city, and you don't allow food, and you don't allow anything to come into the city. They basically cut you off. Now, this is what set up the stage for Masada. What you read about Masada when they were eating themselves, you can read about it in Josephus. Josephus talks about this, where they ate all of their rations. All the rations was gone. Then they started eating the grass. They were eating the leaves off the trees. And then it got to the point to where you had marauders, kind of like the more young men were going from house to house, threatening people, taking their food, whatever they had left. And one woman was so mad when they came to her house, she cut her baby in half and said, "Here, you can have half of my baby," and start eating her baby. People were being cannibals, and that was prophecy. So that's not talking about the Motb. It's talking about what happened during that time where Jerusalem was besieged and everybody was barricaded in.
Right. Now that which is then is now. All right, so we can take the aspect of that, and there will be systems set up the same way. All right, and what they're doing. All right, what the scriptures talk about, where you're not going to be able to go from, leave this city and that city, certain things like that. But yeah, that specifically was talking about 70 AD.
Kind. But you got to require it, Quan.
Right.
AI, and I've heard you be both, I think, optimistic and pessimistic about AI. So let's make what's the optimistic case for AI?
There are probabilities associated with it.
Can you pause it real
Not
quick?
be, I think, 100% optimistic or completely pessimistic.
Sorry, flipping mouse.
I generally would agree with Jeff Hinton associated with it.
Yeah, go on.
All right, and then if you don't mind, we started for Elon Musk. Just put it on regular speed because the way he talks is very hard to understand.
Oh, Salakia.
And also, I want people. Nobody listens to this motherfucker, except for like us and like nerdy people. Okay, like he basically is telling you what's going down. He's literally at the right hand of Trump right now. Okay.
Yep.
And he's an arrogant, demonic piece of crap. And this is one thing that these other Israelite groups are going to learn. Esau is Esau. And you're going to learn the hard way.
And he was groomed, man. Because his granddad was part of a technocratic cult.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been groomed from a child.
The scripture says that the wicked are estranged from the womb. And our people are going to find out real quick the real energy of Esau, man. No one really listens to it, but I always tell brothers, when Esau be talking, listen to what the fuck they be saying. They gonna tell you what it is. They just know people don't listen. They're prideful. Esau will tell you what it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're full of pride. They ain't scared. Esau ain't scared. Esau thinks he is going to win and you can't do nothing about it. He will tell you what it is. Listen to what the hell he be saying. All right. So I want to say that, you got a chance.
I've heard you be both, I think, optimistic and pessimistic about AI. So let's make what's the optimistic case for AI? Is it going to do everything for us?
Well, there are probabilities associated with it. It's not. One cannot be, I think, 100% optimistic or completely pessimistic. I generally would agree with Jeff Hinton. He's one of the sort of godfathers of AI, posted on the X platform, by the way, as is most of the AI community. He thinks it's sort of 10-20% probability of something terrible happening.
So 10% probability of what happening?
Something terrible.
Which is like what? How bad is something terrible? Like extinction of the world's population.
Look but the glass is 80% full. Just look on the bright side. So, I think the most likely outcome is one of abundance, where goods and services are available to anyone. That there's no shortage of goods and services for anyone on earth. I think that is the most likely outcome. So it wouldn't be universal basic income; it would be universal high income.
So here you heard that. So they're selling this thing like it's the kingdom of heaven. Oh, well, it's going to be abundance for everybody. There's not going to be no shortage of anything. All right. This is what these people are going to worship Esau for. They're going to worship the beast and they're going to take that mark instead of worshiping Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man, for his promise. See, Esau has his own gospel. There's even a little cross in the background there.
Yeah. Yeah. These dudes are prideful, man.
He's got his own gospel, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
and
let
this
y'all
is
know
what.
we got the priest Shaman on, man.
Oh, shalom, shalom.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Yehovah Shem Yahshua Brakatham, shalom.
Yeah,
Man. But you got it required quorum. There's a few things on the comment board that I definitely want to touch on. But I want
you
you
want
to
to touch on it now?
Yeah, because you got this guy Sam Altman who is supposedly, him and Elon don't get along. Trump is like, I don't know why they hate each other, but he doesn't like him. I don't know. But they're all this, like I said, there's always two sides of the same coin. And the brother GMS Fortress by put another guy to look into is Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, believes that artificial intelligence will revolutionize the economy and workforce, and says that AI will require new economic models. Okay. And that governments must adopt policies to ensure that the benefits of AI are widely distributed.
There you go. Yeah, so that new, because we're gonna touch on that, because you remember you posted that thing with the Venus project.
Mm-hmm.
Venus project is a planned economy. It's not just that the AI is gonna do the jobs. The AI is gonna control what the jobs are, what's the production, what's the where resources and goods and services are distributed and how they're distributed, if something is created or not. Unlike now, you got 50 billion different types of trainers for no reason. The AI will just be like, well, we don't need all that.
It's going to set the parameters. It's the angels. It's going to set the parameters for how everything needs to go.
Yep.
Okay.
If you are able to buy or sell or something, I mean, bake like this thing with Kroger, they're talking about basically setting up AI. I'll send it later, but they'll be able to dictate, based on your social credit score, things could be higher. You may not be able to have access to certain things based on your social credit score. This is the type of environment AI will bring.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was gonna did you have anything you want to touch on?
There's a little bit more on this. It says he put Altman's views on AI and the economy, job displacement. Altman acknowledges that AI will displace some jobs, but he believes that humans will adapt and find new opportunities. Altman believes that economic value will shift from human labor to the ownership and control of AI technologies. Right? You will own nothing and be happy. Right? You can just utilize your chip. That's you owning AI technologies you have in your chip.
Yep. And what you do is going to be based upon dictatorship. And they showed you that in like, I don't know if anyone watched the cartoon Futurama. When he went into the future, the first thing they did was the computer analyzed him and just gave him a job based upon his IQ and and that's how it's going to be.
AI will be biased. AI will be biased.
Oh,
it will be biased. It will be racist, so to speak.
100% based on the science.
Right. Pseudoscience.
Yeah, because it's fake. We don't have no low IQ. These Edomites, man, don't get me started. These Edomites ain't no high IQ. If they were high IQ, first of all, their own elites are fooling them. So that just disproves it anyway. So I was going to play this clip, which kind of explains what a planned economy is, and then also read what you gave me about the Venus project, just to go over the whole idea of controlling, buying and selling and resources. And then we can link that in with the Motb.
Y'all got it. Y'all got it. And Shaman, if you got something you want to say, just don't feel free to chime in, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm listening. Well, you brothers already said it. The name gives it away. Artificial intelligence, which just means fake intelligence.
One of the brothers said it's AI is artificial idumia.
Artificial idumia. I saw that.
Yeah, that shit is good though. All right, let me play this.
Recently asked me, how could a post-scarcity society come about? Isn't that utopian? What kind of magical levels of efficiency of production would we need before we could just supply?
Is that too fast?
Probably.
It's like that.
Oh yeah, that's the study hack that we tell brothers, man. All these videos
I'm
you
used,
watch.
I'm used to it. Innit?
Hey man, you know I've been used to that since college, bro. So you know that's normal speed for me. But you know, study hack. Always put your videos on 1.25 at
There you
least.
go. So in this video, they're going to go over what's known as a planned economy, which is an economy absolutely, completely controlled, right? Down to everything micromanaged, all right? So let's
What we need before we could just supply the human race with everything we need to live comfortable lives. Well, the thing is, we're already at the point where our means of production could supply every human being on this planet with essentially everything that's needed to live a comfortable life. Our modern means of production are extremely effective. In fact, in some ways, they are too effective. Our current economic system suffers from overproduction. We produce more than we could ever hope to consume.
right. And this is by design. So the current system that Esau created with the capitalism and everything it entails is a system that overproduces. It's just crazy waste,
It's inflationary.
you know?
We're supposed to inflate. We're supposed to inflate, meaning continuously grow. That's the whole idea about Keynesian economics and capitalism, is to consistently inflate. So they overproduce purposely.
Can't. So you end up with this system that's ultimately inefficient and broken. I mean, all you got to do is look at the fashion industry. The fashion industry, in order to make the profits it does, just produces crazy amount of clothes, low quality clothing, that most of it just gets worn and thrown away quickly. And that's why they have a sale every month now. It used to be a sale every like 4 months. Now there's constantly sales. And there's places on the earth that are absolutely destroyed through the production of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's too much. It's actually causing a problem. But the companies that are doing it are making crazy profits because, you know, it don't matter. So this is what they're doing. So this whole system we have right now is broken. It's overproduction. It's absolute consumerism gone to the ridiculous level. People are hoarding products in their house they use once. Look at children. Most children have a toy. You buy them a toy, they use it once.
Mm-hmm.
Then you end up with a garage full of toys. Useless toys. All right, but they're gonna use AI to get rid of all of that. You'll have one toy. That's it.
But because of the market, the things that are produced for profit rather than human need. Instead of producing water filters for Africa, we produce Nintendo Switches. With a rationally and democratically planned economy, we could give every person on the planet enough to live a healthy and comfortable life while still being able to cut down on production. Fewer people would have to work in factories, and they could spend more time doing the things that they actually want to do in their day-to-day, and less pollution would be created. We have seen the effects of unregulated markets and privatization, with the neoliberal ideology sweeping through Europe. Its effects are increased segregation, lower quality healthcare and education, homelessness, and unemployment.
It's 9:15. How am I
Yeah, so that's pretty much the point. So
already underwater?
I'm in the same boat.
I'm in an actual boat.
I thought Grammarly just...
So, what do socialists believe specifically is wrong?
Right. So the point he's gonna make is, see, like we already said, you got all capitalism is like the great evil. You know, it's created a system that's not sustainable, and that's why the elites keep pushing the idea of what's sustainable development, because they created the problem and now they want to come with the solution. And at the heart of that solution is the AIs controlling all the production, controlling all the goods and services, and then you having a chip and only be able to access these goods and services and also be one of those goods and services for
Right.
it to control. All right. So I got this here called the Venus Project, which is one of these. What would you say it is, Elder? One of them. It's kind of like the zeitgeist, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of them airy fairy new age guys invented this to push it out there into the world. We didn't invent it, but it's one of the ways they push this
So
ideology.
basically, he's a guy that said, basically is like, look, man, we can have a utopian society, but we need to do this, this, and this in order to have it. You know, one of the things that we tell people, we always say, like, if Esau wanted to have a utopian society, he could already have done it, but his spirit is not made to do that. He can fix the deserts and turn them into rainforests if he wants to with his heart programs and other technologies. They've harnessed certain levels of free energy with information from Tesla and several other jakes that have shown models of free energy, and it's always jakes that
Hey,
figure
can I
this
say
stuff
something real
out.
quick?
Absolutely.
I got a scripture. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 11. It says, "For ye have the poor always with you." And the poor will always be there, whether it's capitalism, communism, whether you're a socialist or anti-socialist. Even in our society, you're always going to have the rich, and you're always going to have people that are not as rich. And that's because people operate in their own self-interest. So this might sound good on paper, but you're always going to have a higher and a lower. That's just the way the Most High designed things. It says, "But me, ye have not always."
Exactly. Exactly. Because what they're not telling the people is it's still going to be a two-tier system because the elites are going to be above the system with access to everything, truly, because they control the AI.
All right.
So is what let me read this. It says the Venus Project is a vision for a sustainable and resource-based economy. Primarily created by Jacques Fresco, a futurist and inventor, the project proposes the redesign of society by using advanced technology and innovative social systems to solve global problems like poverty, war, and environmental degradation. Its core idea is that resources should be allocated based on need rather than profit,
There you go.
and that technological advancements could automate most industries, reducing the need for manual labor and allowing humans to focus on more creative and fulfilling pursuits.
Yeah, so you can just paint. You can paint pretty pictures all day.
Yeah, but even like that, right? Who really wants to make things just for the sake of doing good to humanity? Not many people. Most people want to do things for their own self-interest or a profit. That's what I was trying to say. Like, I'm reading through this model. I'm like, yeah, this sounds great on paper, but you're always going to have people that's operating their own self-interest. Like the elder just mentioned, there's no way the elites is going to say, let's just equal all of our power. That shit never happens.
Never.
Yeah.
When you pamper someone, when people they become degenerate, that would create a degenerate society.
Well,
what does Esau do when he gets bored? He kills.
That's it. Well, from their point of view, these people are under the system won't be able to do anything because the minute they step out of the line, and this is what they're not telling them. This is what's not in this pretty picture.
Right.
If you step out of line in any way, shape, or form, you're done.
Or how about when you reach your carbon limit, for the month? You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's very restrictive. Like you saying, like this Venus project is saying, okay, let's do things for this necessity. What if I want things for pleasure? What if I want 2 cars?
Yeah,
right.
Hey, you sound like my man from what was that movie, man? With Wesley Snipes.
With Demolition Man.
Yeah.
People, you had them underground people that said, "Fuck it. What if I want to just eat 2 cheeseburgers?
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you stopping me?" There's a lot of regulations in that Venus project. Shit.
Yeah, man. They're leaving that out conveniently. They see Esau make it sound nice, But we know that really what he's planning is hardcore slavery. That's really what it is. It's just a plantation. Just like when you was on the, they had Jake on the plantation. Jake would get their allocated resources. That's it. It says the Venus Project advocates for a shift away from the current monetary based economy. Okay, so this is where a lot of people don't get it, because they still have this view that everything is about profit and about money, and they don't understand that the elites don't care about money because they print it. Everything is not they're willing to lose in certain situations because they're not really losing. What they want is control, power. So they could destroy the dollar. It doesn't matter. They can destroy the pound. They could destroy the franc, and just create a whole new system of resource management, and it means nothing to them, because what's the difference if you control all the resources? So this is why all these currencies are gonna be destroyed, because they need a new form of monetary system anyway. So it says the Venus Project advocates for a shift away from the current monetary-based economy, promoting a society where goods and services are available without the need for money, barter, or credit. The goal is to create a sustainable world where everyone has access to basic needs like food, shelter, and healthcare, while the environment is protected through the responsible use of resources. See, that's Satan, the responsible use. Oh my goodness. The project includes ideas like fully automated cities, renewable energy systems, right, and futuristic transportation methods. While it's not without controversy and criticism, especially regarding feasibility and how society would transition to such a system, it has sparked ongoing discussions to alternative economic models and blah blah blah. Yeah, but the way they want to transition is through death and destruction and blood and pain and suffering. That's why the scripture tells you in Revelations 12:12, the devil's going to come down on you with great wrath, knowing that he have but a short time. He's going to bring crazy crisis in order to justify chipping everyone and bringing them into a new system.
Yep. Could I get the precept for you?
Yeah.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and a name that set, and his name that set on him was Death. And as the scriptures say, he is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto himself. He wants to heap unto himself all people. He wants everything under his control. Again, this AI, this system we're talking about, gives him the ability to be God. To know every thought. To every person, everything will be, pretty much under a grid. All right.
Yep.
And then he'll have the ability to excommunicate people who aren't down, and who have, opposing ideologies, to make a safer environment, a safer world. All right. It says, and hell followed him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. And America is known as the fourth part of the earth. It says to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth, man. And we're literally witnessing that process right now. All right, we're witnessing, famine. All of these things are being set up. The sword. They're poisoning the animals, and pretty soon they're gonna be letting animals loose, saying it was an accident. It'll be attacking people, and it's gonna be a uncouth environment. And to save everything, they're gonna need everyone to be, identified on a grid. Okay, and then the system that you're reading speaks to peace and safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to deceive the people. People are going to be deceived by this, because people are going to be looking for solutions. And that's how the devil does you, man. He creates an environment to where you're destitute, where everything's all messed up. Then he comes in as the savior. And that's what this whole green, talking point, climate, all that is all a snare. It's BS, but like the priest Shaman said, it sounds good on paper. And it's definitely going to sound good once these, black swan events start to increase, which we see the Tesla, on fire in front of Trump Tower. That spoke to something, man, at the beginning of this year. That spoke to everything that we've been seeing from that point going forward. And you think it's going to stop? No, they're not going to stop.
God, that's right. I got a precept for you, Elder.
What you got, champ?
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4. It says, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And these brothers are hitting it right on the money. The so-called white man is trying to mimic the Most High and being omnipotent, omnipresent. And that artificial intelligence, that AI, acts as his form of angels, if you will. There was a video that Brother Mississippi Karatazak, he had sent me, and there was pretty much an AI monitoring workers at Starbucks or some sort of coffee shop, and they could tell what worker was doing 3 cups an hour versus 21 cups an hour, and it could pretty much even send them your termination letter. So it was moderating everything you're doing and control. Again, that's like how the Most High works, where the Most High sees every single thing we do, even down to our thoughts. The so-called white man is trying to mimic that, even to that level, even to try to get your thought patterns through what? Through these different social media outlets. The so-called white man is very, very subtle and very, very intelligent. For example, he has people welcome his agenda. So instead of tell us every single thing you're doing, you know what? Let's make it cool. Let's make posting every single thing you're doing cool. Or instead of saying, look, oh, you got the video, that's beautiful. Instead of saying, we're going to take facial recognition. Okay, you know what? Let's make selfies popular. Now they'll take pictures of their faces. So that's how he operates. When he furthers his agenda, it's welcomed and loved by the society, unbeknownst to them.
Yep. I got a precept
Right,
as
I'm gonna
well.
play this real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Read your precept. I just had that actual clip. I'm gonna go full screen. Let me know if y'all can see this better. I'll go full screen. Is that better? Or is it the same? Let's see.
This is a bit scary. No wonder Elon Musk gave this video an exclamation mark. This is footage from a coffee shop using AI to monitor its employees. The blue text with white letters indicates each employee, and the number shows how many cups of coffee they've made. You can see that an employee named Anna is working diligently, making a total of 20 cups. Meanwhile, Olga is hiding in the corner, slacking off, and has only made 3 cups. All of this is tracked by the AI, which then reports the findings to the boss. In Amazon warehouses, similar technology is used to monitor employees. They even allow AI to generate termination notices for workers with low productivity. But it doesn't stop there. Before long, everything around us, from cars to ships to our daily lives, could fall under AI surveillance. Everything will be tracked, monitored, calculated, and analyzed. If you're wondering what AI is really capable of, well, this is your answer.
And when you look in that situation, now imagine everyone's got the internet of bodies. So they got chips on them, they got devices in their body measuring their expiring, their breathing,
right.
Content. This is what they want. They want a system that you can't buy or sell. And the key is they would be able to have it where you go in there and you only got a certain amount of quota for coffee. You wouldn't be able to buy any more coffee. And if you didn't have a chip at all, you wouldn't be able to buy. The system would flag up that, hold on, there's a person in this room, but we can't sense a chip on them. Who is this person? Send in a drone to deal with this individual.
Right. Imagine you working from home and you trying to you slack off and you get a termination letter. Like they gonna know how many keystrokes you did that day, everything.
Yeah.
That's a prison planet on a whole nother level.
It's even down to your sleep. They can track your sleep, how much you're sleeping. your kettle, because I got a video. We ain't got to show it, but the technology is to the point where they have homes now that every device is connected. So your kettle, your washing machine, your fridge can tell what food you take out of the fridge, what food you put in. It can order the food for you, already linked in with the apps for the food to be delivered to your house. Do you know what I mean?
Gone. And you know what that AI was doing? It was managing. You know, and if any brother's ever been in a role where you actually manage people, you could find that it could be stressful. Some people strive in stressful environments, some people don't. But what the AI does, it takes the emotions out of it. So, you know, the human aspect is like a guy might be slacking, but you talk to him personally. He might be going through some shit with his family. You kind of give him a break, but the emotions are taken out. It would just make that decision. Now, would it be more optimal for the business? Yeah, it would be. They'll be making more money, but also that also gets rid of those higher paying roles, if you will. And it adds to what the brother was saying about like now we can have these minimal labor based jobs, and we can provide universal basic income for that. But these higher paying jobs where it requires like you know the mind to manage and make these sort of sharper decisions. Okay, let's give that now to the AI, and we could just eliminate that cost. So hey, that's the world that they, you know, that's the direction they're pushing in, man.
The AI is basically like an angel.
Yes,
Brother, I said that back in 2020, man. I said, yeah. You know, there's back in 2020, and when I said that was I was working with a former Marine. He was a Marine for 10 years, and I would always have these discussions with him because he would tell me some of the stuff that they have in the military. And how pretty much they're going completely autonomous. And their ultimate goal is to have, because you know how most military, everything is drone technology now, but drones are just pretty much bombers. They're not really fighter jets or anything like that. He said the goal is to have a fighter jet where you're sitting, let's say you sit in your crib out here in New York and you're controlling a jet somewhere in the Middle East and the cockpit is just like an actual jet. So it's like, the technology that they're going towards is all that, leaning more into technology. And didn't they have a movie like in 2004 called Stealth? It was a completely fighter jet controlled by AI, by robots. And again, they put it in the movies. They have this technology for decades, and then they start releasing it gradually to the public.
Even Universal Soldier, because you could put the brain chip in soldiers. You know,
right.
And start having them. In fact, I remember, if I can read the scripture real quick, because it's a good point. Ezekiel 21:9 says, "Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and ye have given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer." Now, one thing they're not really talking about much is the utilization of AI in law enforcement and the military. You know, it's all good and well talking about Amazon, but what's going to come with these AIs is the AIs are going to have the ability to be like Judge Dredd, to determine citizens or non-citizens or even areas for cleansing. And you know, I remember Elder Yashawamba, you found that I can't find that video anymore. You had a video years ago, well, 2015 to be exact. Do you remember when they had that Jade Helm 15? And you found that woman and she was breaking down that Jade Helm 15 was exercise where they were practicing using AI as the general in an urban conflict on American soil. I mean, if I ever find that shit again, man, I need to bring it back out. And that was back in 2015.
Right.
They were basically practicing where the AI is determining the targets and the AI is telling the soldiers where to go and what to do.
Yeah, or
right.
drone.
Well, when you read Daniel the 12th chapter, I've been saying this, it's heavy. I've been thinking this when you read it and it say a time like never before. I believe AI is going to be a part of that, because imagine AI being able to pick up who's calling on the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, it can get that bad. You know, a drone comes to, you know, where people like Hellenization. They were seeking out people who were circumcising their children. Well, imagine an environment like that, with AI. I have
Boy, that
this,
book on it, man.
huh?
I can't copy and paste it though.
Okay. I got this scripture real quick. This is the book of Sirach 42 and 18. This is speaking of the Most High, but this is the power Esau wants. Like when you get Ezekiel, the 28th chapter, it talks about how the prince of Tyrus, which spiritually speaks to Esau, because that which then is now, sits in the midst of the seas being the people. And he's going to use AI in that regard. But Sirach 42 and 18 says, he's speaking of the Most High, he seeketh out the deep and the heart, which is the mind, and considereth their crafty devices. For the Lord knoweth all that may be known, and he beholdeth the signs of the world. He declared the things that are past and for to come, and revealeth the steps of hidden things. No thought escapeth him, neither any word is hidden from him. You see? And this is the power Esau wants. When you look up this devil, what's his name? Noah, Yuval Harari, that devil, he talks about surveillance. Yep. He talks about surveilling people from the inside. You know what I'm saying? So Esau wants that type of power to where no thought escapeth him, no word, nothing, everything will be completely under his dominion and under his control. Now, another precept real quick, when you get Sirach 10 and 20, it says, curse not the king, nor not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber, for a bird of the air shall carry the voice. Esau has that environment kind of set up. We always go to the example of you go through a yellow light here in Babylon. There was a point where they were sending people hella tickets. You go through a yellow light and you think you ran the rail, whatever, they'll send you a ticket. Well, again, as y'all are saying, these AI bots and all, these are left-handed angels. These are angels on the left-hand side, just like the Most High got an angel that's recording everything. Well, Esau wants that type of power on the left-hand side that will pick up and record everything you do. And it's going to ultimately take over the system of buying and selling. And you're going to have that charagma, all right, which eventually we'll get Revelation, the 13th chapter. But Esau wants to be the Most High, as the priest Shaman read in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. He opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worship. When you look up Chi-Psi stigma, ultimately he wants to X the Most High out, X out Yahweh Shai, and put himself in position. And him merging man with machine via this technology will give him the ability to be God. That's the system that they're boasting in, and that's being set up. And they need, AI and all of these things to complete it. You got it, brother.
Real quick, I could jump real quick. I got Daniel chapter 12, verse 4, real quick. It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. The book was the seal was lifted when Yahweh Shai stepped foot on the earth. Revelations, the 5th chapter. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So I've been saying this for a very long time. To further prophecy, you have to further technology. The two work in tandem. There's certain prophecy that you read about, it wouldn't come to pass if they don't hit that technological phase. This AI situation is just another one of those.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, the brother put the video up real quick.
Yeah, I just noticed that, man. Damn.
So that's it. Brothers can go look it up. The Jade and Jade Helm 15 is an AI software program.
And that was back in 2015. And you remember that they were scoffing at you, man, and the elders when we were bringing out about Jade Helm 15 and martial law, and you had all them scoffers, ha ha ha,
They even showed you in that video game Metal Gear Solid 2. That's a clip brothers could look up on their own. Type in Metal Gear Solid 2, the video game AI, and they have a discussion about exactly what's happening right now.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And then basically Elon is incorporating that into the United States government with this Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Yeah, Doge.
Doge. Yeah, they you know, just incorporating it into the system.
Just made it up. And you got to ask yourself, why is Elon Musk now in politics?
Yeah. Can I speak on that real quick with Doge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Doge Elon the reason he left California to Texas was because there's heavy regulations in California, so there's less regulations in Texas. You find out there's certain things you want to get done, you have to go through massive regulations because let's face it, there's so many saturated departments of government. So you have to go through this, go through that, go through this, go through that, go through this to get anything done. So the Department of Government Efficiency, what it's going to do is going to eliminate a lot of those um, different government agencies. And to simplify for brothers, just think about like an NFL game. If you're trying to watch an NFL game, it runs pretty smooth with there's 4 refs on the field. But imagine if there was 30 refs on the field, everything would be get caught. No, you wouldn't really have a game, right? So that's kind of what the department, in a nutshell. I mean, I'm sure there's nefarious things behind the scenes, but on the surface level, on the front end, at least how things are going, is getting rid of these excess departments. That way, more, less regulations, and that's something a lot of people have been complaining about. So,
So what I meant was because he's trying to upgrade the IT in the executive order. And like you said, restructure everything and bring in more efficiency, but ultimately that's just going to lead to AI governance.
That's it.
This guy's Trump presidency is very similar to Ronald Reagan's presidency. In fact, "Make America Great Again" was something that Ronald Reagan came up with. But I say that to say this: even in Ronald Reagan's term, he's working with another billionaire of his time, and they had something very similar to the government Doge. It had something similar to that. I forgot the name of it, but it was based on the billionaire that he was using, and he was doing the same exact shit. There's YouTube. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, ain't nothing new under the sun, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's so similar, bro. So similar.
Khan.
You got it, Mark.
Sorry?
And I believe with Reagan's presidency, he had a witch, a stargazer, a woman who was helped aiding him at that time as well. I did a video on it a while back.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah, this dude Trump, he very much idolized Reagan. You'll hear him speak about him a lot. So I wish I could have this information off the top of my head, but somebody already put together that YouTube presidency between Reagan and Trump is very similar. In fact, they both got shot. So, or shot at.
They did. Yep. That's heavy. You got anything else for Corey Quam or?
No, that was about it. I only had a few videos going into the Internet of Bodies and smart, but brothers can look that up. There's so much technology now. Yeah, you could just look it up, man. It's crazy. Everything can interconnect and talk to each other, and it's for a reason, because the AI is going. It's going to get to a point you're not going to be able to get a kettle and put it on a fire.
Yeah.
The kettle will be hooked up to the grid, and you can only use the kettle if you're allowed to use the kettle. It's just that's what the smart devices allow. It allows for control, but they make it look like it's for convenience.
Right.
No.
It partly is. It is more convenient, but it does create more control, like you.
Yeah.
Yep. The brother put it up there, Joan Quigley. And that brother, the researcher.
Yeah, so he's like if you don't have him as a moderator or your stuff, man, you're missing out. This brother will always come in with
that's my cousin.
He's a spot up shooter, man. Hit him. He's a spot up shooter. He gonna hit that corner 3.
Yeah. She was an astrologer who provided advice to Reagan in the 80s, man. She was a close advisor to Nancy Reagan, the former first lady. So again, and what does it say in Isaiah 47? Let now thy astrologers, and they got way better technology than in enchantments than they did in the 80s. So it's a lot happening. CERN is on fire. It's a lot happening, man, in the earth in these times. We're living in highly prophetic times. I don't understand how camps can't be tapping into this. This is clearly what John the Revelator saw. We have to get Revelation 13, just to read it at least.
We need to get that. And you mentioned about if you go back years ago, we were talking about the Motb infrastructure and how the data storage is going to be important, because with all this information, you're going to need that. And look what Trump was discussing in his speech.
That's right.
Just building these giant ass data centers. So Great Millstone, we've been talking about all this. I know the brother Shamar, he's been talking. Brothers have been bringing this out, but IUIC don't talk about it. ISUPK don't talk about it. No one else really don't talk about it like that.
Right. So what you're going to have is, as this system collapses, you're going to have a bunch of Hebrew Israelites walking around with fringes on, confused about what to do and why things are this way and how they should, react, what mindset they should have. Because the fringes technically are in the spirit now. We look to Yahweh Shai. Ultimately, you're going to need to be on point in the spirit. There's nothing wrong with wearing fringes. We're not saying fringes are wicked. But in these times, as the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of your time. What good is boasting in perfection in the law in an environment that is, telling you in order for you to eat, you're going to have to do this in order for you to, a lot of Israelites are going to be taken into that snare because they're not going to have the faith, needed to get through these times, man. This is why we constantly harp on these. A lot of Israelites think that what we're going into now is insignificant, is redundant, is played out, it's stupid. But you just wait. Now you see a lot of these, algorithm, news and prophecy videos, even people who don't believe in the truth are looking because they're like, oh, shit. Everybody looking.
They watch the videos, man. You can tell by the way these people talk different now. Even from small little things that we say, like, all praise to the Most High. And, that's a thing for people to say it that way. I've been in church my whole life, bro.
Yep.
Nigga, you don't talk like that.
Yep. It's a shift.
There's an influence that's happening, and now everybody's trying to catch up. Spiritual Arc 144K put Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Okay, so now it's the time to come into that spirit.
Yep. And we're gonna need it, man, because it's like the elder Yashawamba said, it's a lot of our comforts are going to be taken away, and we're going to be put into positions where sometimes carnally you ain't gonna see the way out. Which we know that happens sometimes. That happens a lot now, but I mean, as in, it's gonna get real tough. Just like when we were back in Egypt with our backs against the wall, man. Then the Lord just opened up, the way. That's impossible. Nobody could have foresee that. So we gotta be ready and prepared, because they're gonna bring pressure. And that's why these other guys are going to fall, because they're not being prepared for that pressure, to understand that, listen, Esau's not the savior. If you take that chip, you're going to be destroyed. I don't care what he promises you.
Yep. And brothers, prepare for members of these other camps. Once they see that their leaders were charlatans, it's going to be an influx of different Jake coming up to the camp, saying they've been listening. And that's what Esau is ultimately going to shut this word down. These camps are getting ready to be packed. Mark my words. It may not be next week. It may not be next month. But there's going to come a point where these camps of brothers, people are going to be coming up to you with gifts, and letting you know, like, man, I've been watching. These are certain people who are scoffers right now, and it's all good. It's all the spirit of the Lord. Everybody has their time. But there's going to come a point where everybody is going to have to acknowledge the true men of Yahweh Bashim Shai and those who really blew that trumpet, man, because that's the new song being sung. The new song warns against the beast, his image, his mark. It tells you specifically in Revelation, the 14th chapter, as a clash to Revelation 13, that there will be men singing a song specifically not to do this shit, telling you how this man is wicked, fear Yahweh Bashim Shai. Synonymously in Revelation 13, you got the beast boasting in what he's going to do. You got Revelation 14 with a direct message against it. You see?
Yep.
Then you
And
have Revelation 15 where we get victory over it. You got it, brother.
we saw a glimpse of that in 2020 of Hosea 5 and 15, wherein, just before they shut down the whole world, everything was booming. Stock market was up. Everybody was making a bunch of money. Then everything collapsed. And guess what? The apostles started getting a bunch of views. Just a ton of people popping out the woodwork. And that's sort of how Jake reacts, right? When there's affliction, that's when they seek the prophets. When things are calm, that's when they bullshit pretty much. And that's honestly, that's what a real test is. The test is when things are calm. That's what the test of faith is. When shit is hitting the fan, of course, everybody's going to drop down their knees and throw prayer. But where were you when shit wasn't doing that,
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to get into it now.
That's the best time to invest.
That's it. That's it.
Right. Where do you want me to read this from, Elder?
You can just get the chip aspect. Unless y'all wanted to read, you can read whatever you want, but that chip aspect,
Yep. So it's Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he causeth.
Well, start at 15. Let's get 15. Let's get a little bit off of that.
Right. Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
Yep. We're seeing that. We're seeing the image of the beast speaking. Look at Trump's inauguration, how many Roman, influences. And now you have these camps that love to push this notion that the image of the beast is just, they just show this picture of white Jesus, Serapis Christus Caesar, but this is the image of the beast. And it's speaking and living. Well, Esau's done with Christianity, man. We're seeing the image of the beast speak through all of these ancient Roman customs where Trump held the inauguration at. It all had Roman influence, man. But now they have the ability to make Rome digital, make Rome a worldwide, religion, that you're gonna bow to, and we see it speaking. We were literally watching. We saw your boy Elon with that salute, which some say it goes back to the Nazis, some say Rome, but all I see is Edomite supremacy being boasted in, man. No matter where it went back to,
It's both, because the Nazis were heavily occultic.
There you go.
So they were going back to the Romans too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It says, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. And when you read this chapter, this is speaking to the very end of Esau's world. This is what he would be doing. So we go into these things because we're linking this with what we see happening, and calls as many as would not worship the image of the beast that they should be killed. Now, could you look up this word "killed," Baba Kasha?
Mm-hmm. Am I sharing or are you sharing? Am I sharing?
I'm sharing.
Because we know it goes in killed. Everybody knows what killed means, but it's a deeper meaning, because draconian measures are going to be passed to where they put people to death, right? But before that, you're going to be separated. If you don't take to these philosophies. We saw a smidget of that in 2020 with the Ovid. If you didn't bow, because when you deal with ancient Rome, they also had their healing practices and methods. Go to the root word, Baba Kasha.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That reminds me of when I was reading about Rome.
Mm-hmm.
When Rome started to have a downturn, one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons they were able to put the blame on the real Jews, on the Jews, was that they said the Jews refused to worship the idols of Rome.
There you go.
But because they weren't worshiping the way the Romans worship, they said, well, these guys are the guys, they're the ones to blame, because they ain't paying homage to the gods like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then everyone worship, when you go to a city, if they got their own god in that city, you would worship the god of that city. Where we were the only people that are like, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got our own god. Like, we ain't doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's why Nero was able to burn down that region in Rome, which was a temple of Jupiter, and he blamed the followers of Yahweh Shai, and he went into how they always talk about fires coming. Well, look, they did the shit. You know what I'm saying? And they burned our idols. They're against our idols. So he was able to blame them based upon their doctrine, you know, and they're going to do the same thing today. But when you look up this word killed, as you can see, separation of local separation, separation from a whole where part is taken, any kind of separation from one thing or from another by which the union or fellowship of the two is destroyed. See, so if you don't worship the image, you won't be able to have fellowship with the system. And it's going to get more and more strict, you know, as we get closer and closer to the end game by you not worshiping their image. I mean, that when you deal with the juice, the venom, that goes back, that's all heavily tied to idol worship. All right. It talks about pharmakia in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter. If you're not willing to do these things, and Trump, people think he's not, Trump is all for that juice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you talking about we ain't taking the juice, because if you notice,
he
people are sick as hell. Right now, my son is sick, bro. There's a bunch of
everybody's sick.
Everybody's sick.
Yeah.
You got this fog. So you just know very soon there's gonna be another round of juice.
Hey, can I add something real quick, Elder?
Yep.
If we read about the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip, we see that it's a payment system. And a lot of people are like, well, they don't see it. They don't understand how simple and how easy it is to transition to a new payment system, right? I'm not even talking about destroying the dollar right now. I'm just talking about going into a new payment system. I'm going to give 2 examples. In New York, at one point, to use the subway, you could use tokens. Guess what? That was erased or collapsed or destroyed. Then they introduced the MetroCard. If you had your tokens, you couldn't use them anymore. They abandoned MetroCards and now they go to the Omni system, right? Now that's just in New York, how we transitioned from different payment systems, right? And got rid of the old one. Now, most recently, what I want you to think about is the Easy Pass system. There was a point where you could, before you passed, there was a cash transaction. And Apostle Elder Gabar, I remember him saying back in the 90s, they was telling people, like, you're going to go through this toll and you're not going to pay cash. And it seems very absurd. Now, it's just a common thing. So when we're saying, like, look, we could transition to a different payment system, whether they peg this, whether they could peg the chip to whatever they want to peg it to, whether a CBDC or a stable coin or any sort of digital asset, to make the transition to another payment system is far more easier to do than people think, especially with Esau using the state of gradualism and the form of convenience.
They could do it tonight if they wanted to. That's how
Literally.
easy it is.
Literally.
They do it tonight. It's all set up, bro. Programmable systems of payment are ready to roll out. They've been ready to roll out.
If you notice, most of us don't even really dig in our pockets for a wallet anymore. That's already sort of just use my phone kind of thing. Is it more convenient? Technically, yeah, but what is it doing? It's pushing further towards the end goal, the end game.
Yep.
Remember you used to pay your bills by mailing in checks?
Yep.
Now you do direct deposit. So it's just like that. It's transitioning from one payment system to the next. It appears more convenient, but the end goal is to lead to that mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip.
Yep.
Yeah, like even down to the 2-factor now. Everything's 2-factor.
Right, that's a good point. And they're fusing biometrics in that using your fingerprint.
Yep, and then you got the pass key now as well.
Right.
I only just clocked onto this pass key thing where you could log into a computer somewhere and it'll just send a message to your phone to use your biometrics, and then it'll log you in. You heard about that? You use that? I don't know, but yeah, it's called a pass key.
It's so simple as saying this is all they have to say. We have to link your digital ledger, whatever they want to use. We have to link your digital ledger to biometrics. That's literally it. We can't confirm you own any of these digital assets unless you insert this chip, and we could prove biometrically that this is your digital asset. They could use a black swan event to have that come to pass. They could storm down on you. We're just speaking as men how they could go about that in terms of forcing that hell down upon you and give you that option. But that transition in itself, it's not going to be as a huge jump as people are assuming, man. You know, it's just look at the society that we live in. They gradually going from one payment system to the next in the form of convenience, and ultimately it will lead to the RFID microchip being that final payment system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they're making you to bow to their image, and eventually they're gonna bring that charagma. And you can see Trump's mindset is centered around, nigga, you're gonna bow to what the hell we are bringing about. You know, that it's like a emperor. You know what I'm saying? Fascism, you know.
When you take that chip, there's gonna be so much freedom.
Yep.
We're coming to a new age, a golden age.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. That's all a part of the image. The image ain't just no white Jesus, man. It's everything the system that they're establishing in the earth, and is all centered around the ancient Roman Empire being revived. Then he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. Or it says that hold up, Salaki, it got dark. It said and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Notice ain't no middle class there. It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And again, we went into last week how the name, when you enter into a covenant, you know, when a woman enters into a covenant with a man, a marriage, she takes his name. You know, by you taking that charagma, you've entered into a covenant with Esau, and he's put his name on you. He owned you.
It's a blood covenant.
There you go.
Blood
That's
covenant
it.
You know,
and from that point forward, it's mandatory that you have to take up that judgment of wickedness, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see how, if you're going to control buying and selling, you notice how pretty much the system is being more and more consolidated into the same systems, the same payment, couple large payment systems everywhere. MasterCard, Visa, you know,
that's a very good point.
I think there's that maybe one other one, I think, but it's not that many. There's mainly MasterCard and Visa, which they're all on the same program. And then even when you look at the industries, it's mainly just a couple big companies that run everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it wouldn't take much. Like, even if you look at food over here in the UK, we've only got like a few big major, you know, Tesco, Lidl, Aldi, Asda, which is Walmart, Morrison's. Once you have controls of these things, all the other little shops can be weeded out because they're supplied by the major suppliers.
Right. Exactly. You know what, brother? That's right on the money. And Elder, you know, both the elders, you're right. Elder Yashawanda had mentioned the fact that there is no middle class, right? It's poor and rich. And what the middle class has is a sense of autonomy, right? Because the scriptures tell you money is a defense, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm upper middle class and they institutionalize this chip thing and I'm not with it, well, my small business take cash, right? And you could come to my offices, right? But what we saw that they did in 2020 was they got rid of a lot of the middle class. And exactly. Who did they deem essential? The big block stores, right? Your Walmarts, your BJ's, your Costco's. And the reason being is, if we have these conglomerates, well, it'd be easier to further the agenda. We don't have no small businesses. So we're seeing it. We're seeing a huge, the gap between the poor and the rich is steadily climbing. To where there was a period where you made 150,000 a year, you were considered middle class.
Yep.
Now in certain places, you know what I mean? You got a 1-bedroom apartment downtown, and that's what they're doing, brother.
Crazy
consolidation, like you mentioned.
Yep. Now, between rent, car, insurance, student loans, you can easily get up to $7,500 a month in bills. And so if you're not making, $13,000, $14,000 a month, you smacked.
Yeah, and then another way they get rid of the middle class is they say let's increase minimum wage. Now, when you increase minimum wage, if you're a business owner, it's hard to compete. It's hard to compete with Walmart. All Walmart has to do is raise their prices. They don't care if the wages go up. They just raise the price of their goods because they're ordering them in huge bulks. You as a small owner, you got to start paying. You got to start paying somebody from 18 down to 21. You can't cover that overhead. Your margins are too tight. That's how they wipe you out.
Yeah, brother. Do you know what? Do you know the funny thing is they just did that in the UK.
Wow.
In the latest budget, they increased the national insurance. I think that's the same as Social Security or something. They increased the national insurance payments from businesses for their employees, and all the small businesses were like, it affects them.
You can't.
So
Yeah.
exactly what you just said. It's all calculated.
Right. Yeah, he's very wise, man. The scriptures tell you the so-called white man. So-called white man ain't no fool, man. He's like literally the wisest amongst you, the beasts of these nations. So they have these different think tanks, and they carefully thought these plans out. And just like a serpent, they're extremely patient. They could come up with a plan and say, look, we're going to execute this, and we probably get it done in 50, 60 years. They talk like that.
Yep.
And you see it, you're like, holy shit, like 50 years ago, you would never see a so-called black man walking around with pink hair, pants off his ass. Yep. And now, fast forward, this has become the norm.
Bro, you would get beat up. I remember the Moes that went to school. They got beat up every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or even fat chicks used to be humble.
Yep.
Just shit just changes, man. And they do it with gradualism. And there's a movie called Undercover Brother with Eddie Griffin, right? And he was infiltrating the man. They didn't say white man, the man, right? And they showed you a think tank. They showed you how an actual think tank went down. He infiltrated, and it was like, how can we get these Negroes to smoke our cigarettes? And he had this little limp-ass small cigarette. Then Eddie Griffin, he pulls out this fucking huge-ass cigarette blunt-looking thing. He's like, we're going to call this the fatty. And they're kind of like making jokes about it, like, and the so-called white man was getting turned on by the size of the goddamn cigarette, and Jake holding it and shit. And it was supposed to be humorous, but this is grounded in reality. They'll have Jake's, snakes of our people, have these think tanks. How can we do this to further this particular agenda against our people? How can we do this to make them love this and love that? And they think this shit out, man. They know a lot of Jakes better than Jakes know themselves.
Facts. Okay. So I'm gonna read this one part real quick. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. The brother's spiritual art put Psalms 64:6. They searched out iniquities. They accomplished a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Okay.
Yeah.
So they search these things out, man. They research it. They go to get these things accomplished.
Right. There's the father of propaganda. I forgot his name, but he was the one that got women into smoking cigarettes.
Edward Bernays.
Thank you. We were speaking about him at camp, El Dinop Brothers last week, and his family is now the owner of Netflix. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah. His family owns Netflix. So the propaganda narrative, and he was obsessed with that. Like, how can we manipulate people? He sort of like thrived off it. It was just, he loved that shit. So
yeah, Netflix is zesty, man.
Really, I'm subscribed, but I haven't really been watching it. But I know it's growing largely in subscription count. So there's so many different ways you could get people into shit, get people into liking these shits, these different particular hypes. And when you look up that guy that the brother had mentioned, I already forgot his name. But say it one more time, Brother Salakia.
Edward Bernays.
Right. So the elder just said it. Edward Bernays. You brothers should look up. There's a good documentary on YouTube, but it shows you, man, the power of propaganda. How they got people into smoke. Yo, one thing he mentioned. This is what he said. He said, if you ever want to control women, or if you ever want to push something on women, tell them tell them that you're giving them a right that man takes from you. You see the type of Minecraft they use?
Yeah.
So these women that want to run and have high body counts and be sluts and hoes and commit adultery, don't market it like that, saying men have taken away your sexual liberation.
Yeah. That's exactly what they've done.
That's what Satan did to Eve.
Yeah, well, they were screaming about Trump, like as if he was going to take away their sexual freedoms. I mean, when you saw these women screaming when Trump got elected,
yeah,
That's what I mean. As if he's really going to take away their sexual freedom. I mean, you still have the ability to be a whore in America, but they
Yeah.
were active. The thought of it had them on the internet just literally losing it, crashing out.
Yeah, mind you, the nigga woman accounts for most of the abortion in the United States. So you're protesting for a right to keep killing your own babies.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where we are in the world.
That's some heavy witchcraft, bro.
That's at the forefront of people's political ideologies, who they, nominate as president or vote for, based upon their right to abort a fetus.
Insane.
That's insane. That's the world we live in. This is why fire got to come to this place, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. The AI gonna choose them abortions soon. And it's gonna be all the blacks. We need to get rid of the blacks.
Selective breeding.
Planned Parenthood gonna be controlled by AI now.
Mm-hmm.
I had a scripture. I had a scripture, Elder.
Yep, run them.
All right. So real quick,
a couple more scriptures. We'll close out.
Oh, Con. This is the last one I have. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. This is the penalty if you do take that chip. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his hand, in his forehead or in his hand, so it doesn't have to be left or right, any part of the body.
Mm-hmm.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture, going into the blessed missiles, into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb.
Yeah, and that word worship is proskuneo. And it's described like a dog licking his master's hand. You know, so that's the mindset of, the wicked of our people. They're gonna bow down to Esau. They're gonna worship this state. They're gonna worship Trump and these dudes, which you can already see that.
Yep, wonder after beast. And that Revelation 14 is that's the new song. This is a part of the new song. So who's singing that song? Who's really warning, about this system and standing on the front lines telling it like it is, man. That gotta be us through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, starting with our apostles, bishops, and elders as well,
All right. You got another scripture, Elder Yashua?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right then, man. Lord willing, that was edifying, man. A lot of information came out as usual. I'll tell you, brothers, make sure to go and look at the chat. Brothers have been putting up lots of information, scriptures, and points. So just make sure you go take notes to further be edified and kind of bring everything, into a close. And so with that, we're going to say, call hello, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors once again to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you brothers and sisters out there pushing the glory of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, sincerity and true. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Boom.
Close this thing out.